What's going on, Buff Nation? Welcome back to another video. So Coach Prime, like I said in a video yesterday, that he had a lot that he went over in his press conference yesterday. One of those things that he talked about multitude of times was recruiting, his approach on it, the transfer portal, which I kind of combined the two together. And then guys decommitting, his thoughts and opinions on that. I think guys, once they commit, shouldn't be able to go and visit any other schools. It's an interesting take. We're going to talk all about those things today. But before we get into any of that, he's going to talk about his philosophy of recruiting, how he's approaching it. And he is very positive and optimistic about this recruiting cycle, as a lot of kids are calling in, which, look, is very interesting because right now, currently, Colorado sits at 69, and we will see how they close out. I've been telling you, we've got a month left until early signing day, and we are just literally at just 30 days. So we will see how the rest of these 30 days play out for Colorado. I don't know if they can increase the ranking of this class, but take a listen to what Coach Prime had to say about his philosophy of recruiting.
What is your philosophy going into recruiting, and how has it changed, if it's changed, with what you've learned from this season?
Philosophy going into recruiting, we want players that want us. Trying to convince somebody and doing that and being held hostage financially, we ain't with that. We want players that want to be a Colorado Buffalo and want to come here for all the right reasons, academically. The city is so darn beautiful. It's just ignorant. It's so beautiful. And just people that want to be a part of what we're building. We're not going to buy anybody whatsoever. So that's how we approach it. We have tremendous needs. I'm pretty sure everybody in the country know what we need and how much we need. That's not a secret. And the recruits are responding. Trust me, it's not a day that goes by that kids aren't blowing our recruiting staff up. I mean, or blowing Shedeur up and in his DMs, or Travis, or some of the key players on the team. They're calling and and we're responding. Trust me.
Has it changed since last season when you came in?
Yes, because last season you had to fill a void of everything. This year you're more directed. You know what you have, you know what you don't have. You've seen how we react under pressure, you've seen how we don't, and you know what you need. So now it's more focused on, let's go fulfill the needs. You had to just fill the kitchen up, old Mother Hubbard, went to the cupboard and wasn't nothing there. So we had to fill the kitchen up with everything. Now it's more directed and more accurate on, okay, we need 3 of those, we need 2 of those, we need 1 of those. That's pretty much how we're going at it. And we have we know what we want, and we're gonna go get it.
He knows what they want, and they're going to go get it. I love it. So, look, very confident, optimistic that they're going to close strong. I think he's probably alluding a little bit to the transfer portal as well, and saying the sense that, hey, we need these 3 guys, those 2 guys, and this 1 guy. And although recruiting will help with that too, not all those guys will be able to translate right away immediately. So I'm assuming, he's looking at the portal and say, hey, I need these guys. I also believe with the paying aspect of things, I'm not going to get into a bidding war. We've talked about this a handful of times. This is always going to be a topic of conversation with now NIL and paying players, right? That is part of the conversation now, and the way they're paying players is through NIL contracts, right? It's just it's a loophole throughout the system, and basically Coach Prime came out and said, we're not getting involved with that. And I think you can also say, like, hey, speak with the guys. They're doing well through NIL deals. And somebody may say, well, no, just his sons are. His sons are doing very well with NIL deals. They're popular players. Well, it's because they're his son. That's part of it too, but they're also because they're good. Look at any school across the nation. The popular player has the best NIL deal. That's just the way it works. Caleb Williams, he's on Wendy's commercial. Lincoln Riley isn't his dad, and I haven't heard it from anybody else on that team as well either. So let's not get carried away here and just say it's because it's his sons. No, the popular players, like anything, are going to get the bigger deals and more fancy deals. So I believe he's saying, hey, we're not going to just throw all these NIL deals at these kids, because that is what's becoming the new standard across college football, is these kids are basically showing up saying, hey, what can you give me? What are we doing here? It's a common thing that is going, again, that is flooding the nation. So kudos to Coach Prime, kind of standing his ground, saying we're not getting involved with that. It'll be interesting to see how that does pay off. But like he said, people are knocking on the door to come play for us, and we'll just see how it plays out. Next up, kids entering the portal. Kind of talked to Coach Prime of, like, how have you spoke to anybody about, hey, you're not going to be here next year? Has anybody spoke to you about, hey, we're not going to be here next year? He goes, no, I haven't said that too. I'm not going to handle that yet. We're not going to have that conversation about who's leaving, who's not leaving. And, people will be leaving. It's part of it. I'm going to let you listen to what he said, and then we're going to talk about the transfer portal as a whole, because it is interesting. It's something that I think we as fans have to get used to and accustomed to, that players will be leaving regardless of their experience at Colorado, and it's not a negative look. Not always. I think there's going to be a line that line is going to be hard to find of like, okay, this is too many guys leaving. There is an issue there. Hey, this is just the right amount. But take a listen to what he had to say.
Given how big the transfer portal is now in college football, do you and your staff members start to have conversations with guys, kind of feel out where they're at, talk about the future, or do you wait till the season's
With
over?
our kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wait till that's over. You can't do that in season. I mean, I'm pretty sure those kids are thinking about it, those young men. I'm pretty sure the majority of those kids want to stay. You have some kids going to jump regardless, and you kind of plan for that kind of stuff. Like we've already, before the season started, we already knew what we needed. We know what we want. Even by portal or high school kid age and stuff to that nature, we've been there. I think I showed Rick the projections and what we're trying to get well before the season even started. I showed him those because everything that has transpired is not new to us. We kind of knew a lot of these things were coming. We know where we're weak at. You know, we ain't just go out on the field and find out, hey, we're weak there. We knew that before we went out there. But unfortunately, they're exposed to it.
So like I said, they're going to expect some guys to be leaving. Obviously, there's going to be some guys on the team that probably, hey, you're not a Louis Luggage, we were looking for. You need to go ahead and pack bags, get up out of here, right? And he even said, look, we knew we were weak in some areas once the portal closed. That, hey, this window has closed. We can't do too much more. But now we know we're going to go after. I even mentioned it kind of in that earlier clip of now we know, last year we were just kind of trying to fill the cupboard up, right? We had nothing in there. We just need to get things on the shelves, and then we'll figure out what we like, what we don't like, and what we need. And that's where they are this year. And I think that's where that progress is heading. And there is a few times where he kind of gets a little snippy with some of the reporters talking about, hey, what's it like being humbled? How have you handled the progress? Has it changed? Which we have a whole other video discussing that. But just so you guys are all aware, the portal will be something that is going to be interesting. Once again, last year, Colorado was more so all positive, all pro, because he came in and set the tone that people would be leaving. So even though they had a mass exodus, everybody was prepared for that due to the fact that he came out there and said that. I believe, some guys may leave this year and you're going to scratch your head and ask yourself why. Again, it's just going to be part of it. I wouldn't panic. Focus on the names coming in, and I think that's when you'll be able to see if the pieces are starting to connect together because like he said, we know what we need. And if you think most of us believe we feel like we know what they need, and if you start seeing those pieces come in, that's how you know things are moving in the right direction. Next up, he was asked about kids decommitting. And he said, look, kids aren't loyal to their women. Why would they be loyal to a school? And look, I mean, to be fair, it's the college kids, they take this recruiting process. Some of them kind of go a little more rambunctious than others. And, he says, why if they're committed to a school, why not stay with the school? I'm going to play his clip, and then we'll go from there.
Country right now is immune to decommits. Is that kind of also something that you plan for in the back of your head?
I'm trying to figure out how to frame this. A kid ain't even faithful to his girlfriend. You think he gonna be faithful to a school? Like, come on, man. Like that's like an emotional thing. What I wish the NCAA would do, honestly, if you're committed to somewhere, you can't go to no other visits. I wish that would be. Like, if you committed, that means you committed. You can't go on no other visit. So why would you be committed, but you still letting kids go to other places? That don't make sense. So that means they just playing. They just playing. And one thing about it, we're not an ATM. That's not going to happen here. If you come to Colorado to play football for me and the Colorado Buffaloes because you really want to play football and receive a wonderful education, and all the business stuff is going to be handled on the back end if that's the case. But we are not an ATM. You're not coming here to get rich unless you really come here with a plan to go to the NFL and get your degree. Not to come here and be money bag yo. Okay? Is that a rapper, right? I got that one right.
So again, when asked about kids decommitting, the players say that. So again, when asked about decommitting, he referenced other schools. Nobody is immune to it right now. It is decommitment season. We knew this was going to happen as well. This happens every year. It's just part of the process. Now, him saying, I wish kids, once they committed, they were locked in. They couldn't go visit any other schools. The issue with that plan is Kermani McClay was one of those kids that was committed to Miami, but when he came in, he had to come visit Colorado. So it's benefited him as well on the other side. But I get where his mindset's at of like, I put all this effort, all this work into this kid. He tells me, yes, in my mind, I'm able to move on. Trust me. as a fan for for a very long time, watching this process unfold, it's like, why would we even get excited about commits? Because it could not be for real, right? We have an entire celebration, we get fired up. 3 months later, like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this. We're gonna have to end it here. We're gonna have to break up. Hey, look, it's the way it is. That's just kind of something we've all grown accustomed to. It's a part of the process. They're not allowed to sign until come December. If you allow kids to sign early, that would be interesting, because once you're signed, you can't get out of that, right? So maybe they get away from this National Signing Day and say, hey, we're gonna say, you have to sign by this date, but you can sign earlier than that. And that'll really show who really is committed and who's just saying, I'm committed to see, to check my options. Because a lot of kids also too use that commitment as leverage. Well, this person's doing this, I'm already committed here, and they're gonna give me this, they're gonna do that. What are you gonna do? And depending on what schools get desperate towards the end, that's where things start to change. And that's why we see these flips happening towards the end of the year, because schools start to realize, I'm running out of space here. That kid we had an opportunity at, we maybe need to go check that back and see, hey, if we offer him this kind of NIL deal and do this for him, maybe we can pull him. So very interesting. It is all unfolding here. Again, I expect things to be extremely busy for the next 30 to 60 days with the portal and recruiting. You guys don't want to miss it. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.